You ever notice how when someone hides behind a vague excuse, I don't recall, that's not my department, or let's wait for the full story, it's almost never about the truth? It's about delay. It's about running out the clock until you forget what the question even was. It's like when a corporation buries a refund behind 12 steps, or a politician blames the process for not doing the right thing. In powerful institutions, I can't comment on that, is rarely about legality. It's about loyalty to the system, not to the public. And when the most powerful names on Earth start vanishing behind black bars of redacted documents, we shouldn't be asking if something's being hidden. We should be asking why the same people who lecture us about transparency, who demanded investigations into everything from Twitter memes to TikTok dances, suddenly fall silent when the crimes involve children, billionaires, and government lawyers. This isn't about partisanship, it's about patterns, and the pattern is clear. When elites are in the crosshairs, the system protects itself. Let's rewind, because this isn't new. June 2020, then Attorney General Bill Barr tells reporters, "We will get to the bottom of Epstein's network. No one is above the law." August 2020, after Epstein's mysterious death, Trump's DOJ insisted the files would eventually be made public, with appropriate redactions for victim protection. Then came the Epstein Transparency Act, co-sponsored by both Republicans and Democrats, an actual bipartisan effort, promising full disclosure of all non-victim information. What was the expectation set? That the American people, the taxpayers funding these investigations, would see who enabled, facilitated, or covered up the exploitation of children. No ongoing investigation excuses, no protecting reputations, and certainly no letting convicted predators dictate the terms of justice. That was the deal. So what happened? Last week, members of Congress from both parties visited the Department of Justice to finally review the redacted Epstein files. These weren't public releases. These were viewings under supervision, inside a locked-down DOJ room where members were allowed to view but not photograph documents. What did they find? According to Democratic Representative Ro Khanna and Republican Representative Thomas Massie, names of 6 co-conspirators were fully redacted, even though those individuals were not victims, names protected, patterns hidden. And the kicker? Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted trafficker who helped Epstein lure and abuse girls as young as 9 years old, according to members who reviewed the files, invoked the Fifth Amendment during her congressional deposition. She said she wouldn't speak unless she got clemency. Yes, clemency, from the next president, whom she appears confident might be Donald Trump. And members of Congress, when asked directly, should she get clemency, had the gall to say, I don't know. We'll unpack all of that. Because what it reveals about power, about bipartisan cowardice, weaponized redactions, and who the system is really protecting, might be the most important story of the year. Let's get precise. According to Representative Ro Khanna, who personally reviewed the documents, 70 to 80% of the Epstein files were still redacted by the time they reached Congress. The FBI, under the Trump DOJ, never unredacted them as required by the Epstein Transparency Act. The names of the victims? In some cases not redacted, but 6 men, listed as co-conspirators, were fully protected. Let's pause there. The DOJ's stated reason for redactions has always been to protect the privacy of victims. But here, victims were named, while alleged perpetrators were shielded. That's not protection, that's inversion. Congressman Jared Moskowitz confirmed this too, noting that the co-conspirators' names weren't household names, but they weren't random nobodies either. They were powerful, rich, connected. And that explains why someone like Ghislaine Maxwell, who trafficked minors across international borders, felt bold enough to demand a deal. You don't make that demand unless you believe someone in power wants your silence more than your testimony. In other words, she's betting on protection, not from the courts, but from the system. And what was the system's response? Let's look at the tape. While Ghislaine Maxwell demands clemency, and while elite co-conspirators remain anonymous in federal files, survivors are still fighting for their truth to be believed. They're not protected, their names are in the files, their trauma is evidence, and they're still waiting for justice. Meanwhile, the political class can't even give a straight answer on whether the woman who facilitated their abuse should be denied clemency. Republican Representative Tom Cole? I have no earthly idea. Senator Bernie Moreno turned it into a punchline about Obama. Representative Nicole Malliotakis said she had to run to a doctor's appointment. Even Oversight Chair James Comer punted. That's for the president to decide. Excuse me? These are the same lawmakers who campaign on protecting children, who support surveillance powers to fight trafficking, who slam the DOJ for bias, yet stay silent when that same DOJ buries names of alleged child abusers. But let's not pretend this is one-party corruption. To their credit, Democrats like Ro Khanna, Moskowitz, and AOC demanded transparency. Republicans like Thomas Massie and Lauren Boebert actually called out the DOJ's redactions and opposed clemency for Maxwell. But this isn't about one party failing. It's about how the whole system hesitates when elite networks are threatened. Survivors pay the price, and the rest of us, we're just supposed to forget. Let's be brutally honest. You know this feeling, that creeping sense that no matter how loud the outrage gets, nothing really changes when billionaires, bankers, and former presidents are involved. If this were any other case, any local sex trafficking ring in any U.S. city, the people protecting child abusers would be named, prosecuted, and jailed. There wouldn't be redacted files. There wouldn't be clemency talks. There wouldn't be powerful men hiding behind ongoing investigations for 15 years. Ask yourself, why can't a bipartisan Congress, under public pressure, even agree that Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve clemency? Why did Trump's DOJ redact emails between Epstein's legal team and Trump's own lawyers? Why are the same names that appear in Epstein's flight logs and island manifests mysteriously shielded while victims are named? And why is it that when someone like Ro Khanna asks why survivors' names were unredacted, no one in the DOJ has an answer? The answer isn't legal complexity, it's institutional cowardice. When crimes are this horrific, and when the people involved are this powerful, the goal becomes not justice, but containment. This is not conspiracy theory, it's a credibility crisis, and the government earned it. Remember how we started? When someone deflects, dodges, or hides behind, "I don't know," it's usually not about facts. It's about what they won't say. And this week, Washington said a lot by saying nothing. By dodging questions about clemency, by hiding behind redactions that don't protect victims, but protect predators, by allowing convicted traffickers to negotiate their freedom instead of facing full punishment. This isn't just about Epstein. It's about the class of people who believe they'll never face consequences. They count on the media moving on. They count on us getting bored. They count on the fog of politics to bury the specifics. But we see the pattern now, and once you see it, you don't unsee it. So if you're tired of the cover-ups, if you're tired of the moral rot hiding behind redactions, if you believe the truth should be louder than their silence, then here's what you can do. Like this video, comment your thoughts. Even if it's just to say you're watching, share this with someone who's starting to wake up. Subscribe to stay ahead of the next deception, because this isn't over, it's just beginning.